Welcome back, guys. This is part 3. In part 3, we're going to discuss what caused this whole problem. All right, so make sure you watch part 1 and part 2. All right, in this video, we're just going to discuss some things. Okay, let's get it.
All right, guys, I'm pretty much done, at least with this part. I got it all wrapped up and looking as professional as I can get it. So I went ahead and put the intake back on. Now, last but not least, guys, remember this is Criddle's high resistance, is open circuits, all kinds of things. But something has to cause that, guys. I want to blame it on, here's my male and female connector. I want to blame this on coolant migration, guys. Remember I talked about this on a 3-part Chrysler 300 series that was beating me up, that car. Watch this video right here. I think this is part 1, but it was 3 parts to that whole video. You have to watch them all. Like, in that video, it was determined that the cheap, low quality coolant sensor that was installed was actually allowing coolant to go through the wiring, through the connectors, and this one ended up at the PCM. But I guess on this one, it stopped right here. So all my corrosion. Now, doing all this mean nothing if you're not going to find and trace the problem. All right, my problem is at the coolant sensor itself. Okay, here's my coolant sensor connector. The coolant sensor is right here. Look at, guys, it's just cheap. Let me get you a good. It's just cheap plastic. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is replace this. My thinking, if I take this off, I guarantee I might see coolant just sitting in there, and electrons tends to try to push that through the harness and cause all kinds of crazy problems. Right? This could have easily have burned out the PCM. So I'm gonna try to clean this out as best as possible and replace this coolant sensor. All right, coolant temp sensor. So, and that should about wrap this car up, man. I know I keep saying that, but I don't want to. This is a repair, but not a fix. You got to find out what exactly caused this. And in this case, this might not be your case, but in this case, it's pointing toward this. All right, so let me finish this. Let me go get a coolant sensor. And all right, guys, so here's a new part. We got a new coolant temp sensor. Now, you see how quality build this is? Now, this is an OEM. I really don't know what this is, but it looked flimsy. Even the construction body of it, I don't know. I just much rather have this nice, good OEM. Now when I take this out, coolant may spit out, but that's okay. I need to get it replaced and get this high resistance repaired. Okay, let's see what we got. Alright, might make a little mess. Hey, it's under a little pressure. Alright, so let me do this real fast. Oh, that's it. Well, let's look inside of here while we got it. So y'all see that inside of there? Yeah, man. That will make its way through your harness. Alright, let's get this new one put on. Some nice, good quality. That won't let. Remember, guys, this is a temp sensor, I want to say. So it's basically measuring the temperature of the coolant. Now, who needs to know this information? The PCM needs to know the temperature of the coolant. Well, a number of reasons, guys. Fan operation. I don't know. AC maybe. Now that's pressure. But anyway, that information is important, guys. So cars have to have an electrical way to know what the temperature of the coolant is. Now I'm gonna clean this out with some electrical contact cleaner and might put some dielectric or whatever. So let me get to it, man. We'll see what happens, man. Y'all stay tuned. All right, guys. So I decided to go ahead and take the pin out of the connector to try to clean it up real good. Now I don't know. I might have to go in with a new. This may be too far gone. Let me see if I can get y'all a good vision. Yeah, what y'all think? Should I just snap this end off and go in with a new pin?
Coolant migration is what I was told. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. Don't dog me out in the comments. It's just I like to try to get to the bottom of things, and I'm a big firm believer in simply repairing a visual problem that you see, such as this. It's not a fix, because if I had repaired this and left this in place, car would come back with the same problem. This sensor was soaked with coolant. I mean, this connector was soaked with coolant, guys. All right, that's not good. It had to come. I almost had no choice but to come from here and out of here. This is set like this, so when I took it out, like drips of coolant spilled out. So yeah, steer clear of this stuff. Okay, in fact, I'm gonna make me a nice good thumbnail saying don't use these, guys. This is plastic. It will cause you more headache than you care to indulge in. And remember, this injector harness is discontinued. I looked all over eBay, Amazon. I had no choice. I even went to pull apart, but they was all gone. So somebody obviously having the same problem I'm having. All right, guys, so keep in mind, keep this in mind. If you have a bunch of codes, map sensor, EGR valve, coolant temp sensor, things like volts high, anytime you have a code that volts is high, there's a chance that the ground is missing. When ground goes away, the voltage in these sensors, the computer will detect a high voltage. That's where that code always sets. So that does not mean you need a PCM every time you see volts high for a bunch of sensors. I was that way. I'm guilty of that. I used to replace computers because, well, if it's picking up 3 bad sensors and you replace all 3 sensors and still have the problem, it must be the computer. I say this all the time, guys. The thing that's in between, just say what's in between this sensor and the computer is this wiring. How else they going to communicate? So it has to be a problem in your wiring. If that would be the first thing I check before I suspect a high dollar computer. There's a lot of money wasted on this car. Parts replaced for no reason. Volts high is not an indication that you need a PCM, guys. All right, but I did get me a harness, and I did get me some. I did get me a new harness too. I seen one out there for a different model year. I went ahead and snagged it because I'm sure I need it sooner or later. But that's all I have, guys. Let me show y'all the new harness, what I got for my future problems. Now that I know this is discontinued, I still want to be able to repair this and sell the job. All right, I don't want to have to totally cut a connector out. I had to cut this out. You would go through pure hell trying to repair all this. Once that coolant gets set in there, it's extremely hard to clean out and get this back to normal. So I just jump over the connector. They call it overlay. Some people call it overlay. But my point is, the car is fixed. Don't do this. Always do a nice, good quality coolant sensor. And now let me show y'all what I picked up at pull apart while I was there. Stay tuned. Alright, so while I was at pull apart, guys, here's one of the harness that I picked up off a similar van. Now they all not going to be the same because some of these vans are equipped with EGR, some are not. Depends on the features. Alright, so you really need to know what you're dealing with. But here's an injector harness I get. So because I know you're never gonna have to repair both connectors. Alright, I had to repair this one. So but what I ended up doing was cut, because I got it out of a junk vehicle. I just simply, I wanted this too, right? Not only do I want this, because this may be bad also, or corroded. So, and at this point, I can just splice this in the harness on the car. So, what I did was got the complete harness and both connectors, male and female. All right, there will be a scenario where I need this. Okay, remember, I know this is discontinued, but I hate losing money. All right, if I can repair something, I will give it my best shot. If not, remember, guys, this car came from another shop. Okay, they throw everything at this car. PCM, y'all see all that pretty EGR valve down there? Okay, everything on here was replaced. PCM was new. They replaced a lot of stuff, but none of that did anything. So for my next problem child needing a injector harness, I would be prepared, and I will have to factor this into my labor rate whether I do it at Brothers Motors or here. I'm probably not going to be able to do this like at a place like the dealer, because they're under strict guidelines as far as parts have to be accounted for. So if you say you replaced a part has to be billed out. In Brothers Motors, I'm not under those restrictions. Okay, I can explain to the customer what I'm going to do and merely do it. All right, just tell them here's what I'm going to install, and try to make it show up on the invoice as necessary. But dealerships on a lot of rules. So, but now if the customer knows, it's all about communication, guys. So if you can communicate everything you're doing and jot it down, notate it down on a repair order, you should be fine. All right, but yeah, this is I did good to find this out there. I went out there and this was still on the car. I snagged it up quick, guys. I appreciate you guys watching these video series. I'm almost certain you're gonna learn something. If you see that, you pretty much know what to do now. And guys, I found out shops be watching these videos. I'm cool with that. Mechanics have a hard time giving other mechanics credit for the things that they figure out. All right, and I'm guilty of that as well. So I'm not gonna really dog them out. It just, all I ask that you do is subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the video. That helps the channel grow. All right, that's all I have, guys. Thanks for watching.